We're back with another episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. And as always, we bring on fun, awesome, amazing, interesting people. But most importantly, we bring on champions in their space of expertise, knowledge, and abilities. And I'm really excited to connect with and learn from our guest today. But before that, just a few items of business to cover. We just wanted to say how excited we are for the Summer Olympics. And by we, I mean me, and the team is just, they're like, okay, Jon, I'm taking 2 weeks off just to watch the Summer Olympics coming up soon. There are so many stories. So stay tuned. We have some really cool updates, some podcast interview highlights from some of my personal friends who've just qualified and are heading to Paris this month. And we're really excited. But this entire podcast, Circle of Knowledge, was created by myself and a few entrepreneurs back in 2017. And one of the things that we've really transitioned this podcast into doing is highlighting champions, as our premier sponsor is Champion Circle, a networking and professional association focused on helping entrepreneurs and business owners to overcome their challenges through the Think and Grow Rich principles and personal education of personal development, and likewise through mastermind methodologies. And we want to just say thank you to all of the executive producers over there at Champion Circle for helping make this podcast possible. And we're excited to introduce our special guest for today. And before I bring her on screen, I want to read a bio to share a little bit of information and add some knowledge about who this person is. I can't explain how excited I am. I can't show you how excited I am. You can just get it from listening or watching or whatever you consume our content from. But I'm really excited to introduce Miss Lauren Fields. Lauren Fields specializes in turning dreams into reality. She is as a life design strategist, podcast host, a TEDx speaker, guys. Lauren is passionate about helping individuals develop themselves and design their future. She founded the Fieldswell Method to empower clients to overcome challenges with resilience and grace in order to tap into their full potential. And I personally have had the opportunity of getting to know Lauren through a matter of projects, but we will be co-authoring in a few weeks here together. We'll be sharing the same stages, and I've just become a fangirl of Lauren as I've watched her on social media just kicking butt, taking names, but also using her methods and her knowledge to serve and help so many other people. So welcome to the Circle of Knowledge podcast, Miss Lauren Fields. How are you today? Well, I'm pumped too, and you said the right words. 9 out of 10 times, people love that intro, so I'm grateful. Uh, I'm a one take kind of guy. Let's do this. I'm super excited to get to know you and have my listeners to get to know you because you are clearly a poised professional and you have so much to offer to the world. But you came from somewhere. Let's start there. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your upbringing, before we get to the present, Lauren? What about your journey and your story is something that led you to today and the present? Hmm. And what was it about, not just horses, but it was the equestrian activities that really pushed you in the direction of serving other people? Okay. Oh, oh, no. Wow. Mm, mm. It's amazing. You bring up such a powerful principle that we get lost in the service of others when we realize the why isn't about ourselves, but it's about working with other people and helping them, and that journey, that experience. Wow, that must have been quite the epiphany to say, wow, okay, I can no longer. And it's not that you were hiding; it's that you were trying so hard to just show the world that things were okay, when it's okay that they weren't quite okay physically or in certain aspects. But yeah, and by the way, brain damn, like that's so yeah, that's some serious stuff that can have a lot of extra stories that lead into just your life and experiences. Cool. Mm. Mm. Well, we're grateful, beyond grateful to have you here. And maybe what my listeners are wondering is, now that you're on this path and trajectory, you're coaching, you're speaking, you're training, are horses still involved in your life? Yeah. Well, that's so cool. And I've come, you know, 33, 34 years of being alive in this world. I realized that I'm really the only Olympic geek that I know. But do you ever sit around and wait for the equestrian sports to come on the Olympics? Is that something you care about? Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. I've ridden a horse before, and I can only attest to how difficult, and how much training and experience you need and rapport you develop with that animal because just hiking through mountains on horseback is one challenging experience, and I was so grateful and connected in a weird way. And again, I'm going the weird direction is there's that scene in the movie Avatar when they make the connection with the animal, and it's like, boy, this horse wanted to nip my ankles the entire time, and then finally someone coached me up and said, it's either a scratch behind the ear or a gentle kick there, or maybe offer some kibbles. And finally, after like an hour's worth of struggle with this animal, we made a bond, and it was so powerful. But I realized if I would ever jump over even just like a stick, I would need years of connection and training and understanding. So I literally tip my hat to that. That is an incredible accomplishment. Thoroughly, thoroughly. Mhm. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm so glad you said that, and we'll get back on track here. But I love that because of all the animals I've had the privilege of associating and being in their presence. Um, Horses have in many ways been one of the most intuitive creatures I've ever met, and it's like you said, they match energy. They want confidence in who's handling with them, not handling them, but handling with them. And I've recognized that. And I had a little sister. I have a little sister who was obsessed and loved horses, and that was kind of my introduction to equestrian stuff. And she didn't have the resources to do it for long, but she to this day still has incredible experiences. And I remember just spending time around them and being like, wow, these animals, they know a lot more than anyone gives them credit. They're so intuitive. I'd love to learn a little bit more. So in transition from that childhood dream to injury to recovery, you've developed some methods, and you call them the Fieldswell Method. And without giving away the secrets to the farm, of course, we would love for people to learn more about you, to inquire more about you, and obviously give you a call or find out how they can work with you. But tell me a little bit about this method. And you talked about going inward. Let's start there and talk about what it is that this methodology begins to help people with as they, like you said, rather than fix what's on the outside, but also fix what's on the inside. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. Wow. I love that. I can totally relate, and I have so much to learn because I remember being in a yoga class. I was at a mastermind retreat in Florida, and it's already hot in Florida, and someone convinced me to go to a hot yoga class, which it was an experience for sure. And I remember one profound statement that the yoga instructor said, and it was just during warm up, and it was like, take your hand, put it on the floor, and stretch your fingers. Let's do some yoga for the hand. Let's do some yoga for the fingers, for your skin, for your neck. Let's do some yoga. And it was like every little piece was yoga for something. And I realized how much intentionality was behind every movement. And even if it's uncomfortable, the just the sheer ability that we can stand up every morning is an absolute not only miracle, but it's brilliant, it's genius, and I relate to that, and I think a lot of people miss out on the small things. And like you said, Lauren, simplify it. Go back to those three questions. Mm, mhm. Absolutely. Wow. I love this. And I not only am I a learner in this, I try to ask questions based on what I feel like my audience would love to learn and know as well. But um, that experience alone, that repetition, uh, can and will obviously lead to amazing things. I'd love to go back a step for a minute and ask. There was a transition in your story earlier that kind of turned the light bulb on for me, which was you were working in New York. You were working as I think you said something a little bit more than a stylist. There was something lifestyle manager. Okay. So I'd like to know a little bit about that. And then you found that you were helping people on the outside, and then you realized there was work to be done on the inside. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, the recognition of that connection, and what you started to feel and why you moved in that direction versus staying where you were? Mm, mm, mm. Ah, man, I love that. Team, add that to the sound bites of quotes to add to our marketing. That was brilliant. And I love that you brought that up because a lot of what I hope, my listeners will gain from this and from many of this conversation is that there is so much work to be done on the inside. And you bring up some really cool principles. And I'm going to go back to your bio for a second because I wanted to review maybe a few more questions I have just about what you're doing with Fieldswell. And but personally, what are some of your personal techniques that you use on a either daily, weekly, or just an often basis to connect inward as you prepare to do the work outside? Mm, 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 mm. I love I love it, and thank you for the details. As a retired athlete and now just, not just an entrepreneur and so many other things, I love hearing and learning people's methods and their own ways to not only connect, but to have their personal time, and, it's so brilliant, it's so beautiful, it's amazing, and what 99% of the world, I believe, could gain from hearing that is they would look at you and say, "Wow, you really are intentional about your time." They wouldn't say, "Oh my gosh, you're overly structured." No, they're gonna see it and they're gonna say, "Wow, that's I wish I could do that for myself," is probably what other people are gonna say. And your answer would be, "You absolutely can." Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. One of the you reminded me too, by the way. I want to add to I have a stack of books that are on my reading list, and one of the books I want to put back at the top and re-review is The Untethered Soul, of course. And there's something beautiful about structuring your life with intentionality, but that untethered soul is not being tethered to a calendar or a schedule. It's being untethered to things that are not of great importance. And you reminded me of that. And I think that one of the words you're just through who you are, Lauren, and what you're teaching and what you're sharing to myself and to the people listening to this podcast is that you've created an image of what can lead to resilience. And that word resilience is just popping out of my brain because it tells me that you not only have control but also the ability to expand and grow, and your universe is consistently being fueled through your own personal choices and actions. And I love that. What are your thoughts on the word resilience, and how do some of these methods make people more resilient? Mm. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And there's so much to unpack there. And my computer screen, I'm sure it'll catch up with me. It feels like I'm frozen, but I know that I can hear you and you can hear me. I'm just going to keep going. Is that moving a little bit forward into this, is that I love this idea, and you also brought up the principle of journaling and writing things down. And a lot of people in my life have said that the most powerful tool in which they've been able to um, achieve a lot of their goals and successes is through writing things down. And we call it scripting. How important is the power of writing things down for you, and also your methodologies when you work with your clients? That's significant. Wow. Mm, mm. I love it. Thank you for sharing that and inviting our everybody to write things down more, to journal, to release that. And when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to writing your intentions, your aspirations, your word, which I'm going to ask you about in just a minute, um, all of that is let's just go to that percentage, right? 40% more likely to live that, to bring that into existence. That is people who don't understand. I'm freaking out about that because even if it was 10%, that would be significant. But 40% is huge. You're expressing, and there's so much, I'm sure, psychology behind the application of thought and releasing it through either through for orating or through written form, but it brings to life so much for us, and there's so much science that goes into it. I get geeked out about it. Mm. I was going to ask you earlier, what was your word for this year, and how is that word emanate or emulating throughout your life? Mm. Mm. I have a mic drop moment there. I freaking love that. Um, a little off the cuff, and I'm just curious because some people's brains work differently, and I'm curious about your brain just because of your story, your background, and who you are, Lauren. Do certain words, of course, have meaning and value, but do they have any association or correlation with a color? Does the word action have an association with a particular color in your world? Okay, interesting you say that. Um, it is. In the world of Jon Kovach psychology, red and sales is an action color, and it is such a powerful connection and it's interesting you said the word stop because most people do associate red with stop signs and so forth, but red is actually a go. It's all about movement. It's all about running, and I love that, and it is. Yeah. Yeah, and what I love about boldness and what you said is boldness is simple. It's not complicated. To be bold, you literally just gotta throw your hands or foot down and say, drawn a line in the sand. It's gone. We're good. We're going. I love that. So interesting. I love that you didn't think about that before, but you made that association, and you're absolutely right. And even if you said like green, pink, or blue or purple, like, it didn't matter. It would have been perfect for you because that's your association, and I love that. And actually, a lot of Olympic athletes, when they identify words to help them and motivate them, they also associate them with colors because as we're running, as we're doing things, we see a lot of colors, we see a lot of lights, and those colors remind us of the implications that we have committed to, so that we can fulfill. But wrapping sort of that up and moving more into how would you love to have people reach out to you and connect with you? I'll answer the question first by saying, guys, I follow Lauren Fields on social media. Her Fieldswell podcast, her Instagram. She is such an influencing motivator. I'm going to say that because influencer has a different connotation nowadays, but you're an influencing motivator, and your content, your connection, everything has a message, and it's so intentional, just like who you are and what you described your morning and evening schedules as. I'm very impressed. And but what lights your day when people connect with you online? How would you recommend them connecting with you? And I'm becoming a big fan of the Fieldswell podcast. There have been some great conversations and some depth and some knowledge and understanding, and that's I mean, I am not only among many goofy, geeky, awesome things, but I'm also just like the biggest learner through audio, and I love listening to the conversations that you have. You bring such an interesting and a depth of knowledge into the world of application and psychology. But another word that's popping up for me, and it may not be a word you resonate with, but it's a word that just connects for me, and it's bringing the world of focus and yoga into the world of business and application. And that word that connects them, the bridge for me is reverence. And right, it's almost like there's a connection to soul through solemnity, but also application through action, like you said. Wow. Wow. That how do you manifest that? Mm. Mm. Wow. Man, I did the mic drop moment too soon. That was great. And and my listeners love that stuff, so thank you for sharing that, and we'll absolutely include that in the show notes. If you're listening to this now, you'll be able to find a connection to that. Thank you for sharing that and offering that, and, please, go and follow and listen and learn more about Lauren Fields and the Fieldswell movement. I'm excited for all things to come, and I liked your stuff before you told me Elon was on it, so now that it's great to know that there's some really cool connections there as well. I'm grateful because this conversation helped me understand and again from the position that I'm in, I've learned so much about Lauren in such a short amount of time. And the more I do learn, the more I shouldn't be surprised, but I am so overwhelmingly excited at how much depth there is to this human being. And you provide such value in such a cool, calm, collected, calculated way through your own personal experience. I do have to ask the question, and I feel like I'm backtracking on this, but there's so much more to you than the the little girl who loved horses and equestrian sports. and throughout your journey, there have been so many epiphanies and so many um, uh, transformations that have led you to going and studying even further down the road of psychology and getting a master's degree and all of those incredible things. What would you say has been your greatest challenge led to triumph in your life?
Sorry, something went wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Man, so many powerful, powerful principles to unlock and to discover and to share and experience. Thank you, Lauren. I want to iterate again, just invite my listeners to go follow and subscribe and learn more about Lauren. She said Instagram is the best place to hang out, and you can do that there. We'll have all the information here in the show notes, so please click and scroll and do what you need to do to get to where you want to go. And I highly recommend you learn more about what she's doing in the world, the methodology she's teaching, the clients she's taking on and helping, as well as the podcasts I've had an opportunity to experience a little bit about. And I'm grateful. It's been such a fun and honorable experience getting to know you and what you're leading with. And to the listeners as well. There's so much to unpack here. A great application, and one thing that my listeners do is they vote every quarter, and they have a top five list, and the top five is a list of people who they'd like to have back on the show, to learn more from. So if you're casting your votes today, do so for Lauren Fields. She's been an amazing guest on the show, and also just I've been so grateful to sit front row to learning and getting to know this amazing human being. And also, I can't wait to learn more, as there's so much more to peel back and learn more about. But at the same time, I love one of the things I love that you teach, Lauren, is how to simplify and how to get back to center. Another word that's popping up for me, and again, these are just my words, they're just words that pop up for me, is center and gravitation. I feel so balanced in conversation with you because you do make it feel and experientially seem as if it is something that each person can take a handle of their lives and design it the way they like. And it's a new perspective to personal development that I don't think many get from pulling things off the shelf. And that's a huge, huge um, bonus and compliment to what you're doing and how you're doing it. So thank you. Those are some of my magic words. You said them. Thank you. I love those. As we wrap today's podcast up, I would like to ask. I feel empowered to do so. I know we're running out of time. Lauren, do you have any final thoughts and words you'd like to leave with our listeners today? Boom. Man, so many great moments. I know. Drop it. I have a little miniature mic here that I can yeah, okay, boom. Ooh, that one, thank you. Um, I I do become a student when we do this, and the hairs on my neck stood up on that. That was really great. And thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Fields, go follow her on social media at Lauren Fields, and also check out her podcast, Fieldswell Podcast, to learn more about her and what she's doing. And if you feel so inclined, please connect with her and learn more about her coaching methods, because she can and will show you how to literally write into existence the life and dream you want to create. And you become someone who overcomes challenges and builds resilience in their life. That is Miss Lauren Fields. Thank you so much, Lauren, and I'll see you in the green room in just a second. As I wrap this up, I just want to share and say thank you to all of our listeners. Please reach out to us, the Circle of Knowledge podcast. You can send us an email to my team at mychampionscircle.com. That's where we hear from most of you. And we look forward to hearing from you again as you share with us who you loved in this second quarter of business. And also let us know how you are applying the principles and who you're resonating with, as we want to continue to factor in most of that in our shows moving forward. With all that being said, you guys are going to see me probably in 2 months from now, because I'm going to take an entire month off to process the Summer Olympics. We'll see you next time on the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Thanks.